There is
When
no
did you
clear
become
cut.
soft?
It's
right
not.
now.
It's cerebral. It's cerebral.
The words Bieksa and cerebral do not go together. Give me a pick. So looking forward to it, gentlemen. See you both there. Montreal and Boston. Four Nations Face-Off begins February 12th on Sportsnet. If game one was right now, Binnington, Hill, or Montembeault, who are you starting?
I would go Hill. I know that's kind of crazy. I think
It's not crazy.
I think he's big.
You're
I think
crazy
he's
for other reasons, not that
I think he's
one.
big. I think he's athletic. I think most people think Binnington's like the number one guy, and rightfully so. But I think he's big. He's kind of can be a shot blocker type guy. And you look at our lineup, you look at this like the way that they're going to be playing and the personnel that they have. I think he will suit and play perfect under that with his attributes.
I think like I would, if you asked me in a week, my answer would be different. If you
I'm
asked
not
me in
asking
2
you,
weeks,
I'm asking you right now.
well, I'd have to look at all the last five. They're so
Oh
close.
my God.
No, listen, they're so close in my opinion that I would look at like up to the last 5 games. Who's got the better record? Who's playing better in the last 5 NHL regular? That's how close it is for me. There is
When
no
did you
clear
become
cut.
soft?
It's
right
not,
now.
It's cerebral. It's cerebral. So who's played better in
The
the last
words
5 games?
Bieksa and cerebral do not go together. Give me a pick.
Now Kevin's going to change it. He's going to be like, I'm in Montreal. I'm watching their pregame skates and practices.
If I had to
changed my
pick,
mind.
not knowing how their last week went, I'd probably say Binnington. But I would say Canada's.
Why?
Because I just, for me, like I coach at a high level too, Colby.
Yes.
I think just who makes me feel safe.
Yeah.
Like Montembeault's too young for me right now for that stage.
He's the 3.
And
Yeah.
I feel a safety with Binnington. Is he going to steal me a game? Probably not. I just feel like I would trust him.
What about you? Hold on. What about you?
I'm starting Hill.
Okay, you're with me.
Okay.
I'm starting Hill.
Yeah.
Both those guys have had great years, but if I had to pick today, I would take.
Was it part of what I said though?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was all your reasoning. Your reasoning was better than his. You convinced me to come over.
And he couldn't pick Hyman to start in that, so I had to go with Hill.
Snub, total snub. Okay, so if you were setting Crosby's line mates, and there are a lot of great players to choose from, who are you going with?
So I would put him with Marchand and McKinnon.
Okay.
I think he wants to, and you know, like when forwards
Skates with those guys
when
every
you when you
summer.
want to play with someone and you have a chemistry in the summer. I know you haven't played much internationally. He obviously has the chemistry of Marchand and Bergeron.
Yeah.
He wants to play with those guys. They do kind of fit if you think about it. I just think that would be a really great second line that you would just play the crap out of.
Yeah. I think it's like written in stone already that like when this came up that those guys would play together. Like
think
Nova
so?
Scotia guys. I think it's kind of been floated out there. I think they both would love that. I think they've, you know the mindset of people, Maritimers, like the underdog kind of story. So to have those 3 together, I think, will be the line to start. No question, those guys will be together. And Sid is one of the more, I would probably say he's probably the most adaptable player over. I mean, he had to play with me for crying out loud.
Sid, by the way, skates with Marchand and McKinnon, of course, during the summer, and McKinnon kind of admits that they put Crosby and Marchand always on the same team, and it drives him crazy. So it'll be good for him to be on the same team with
Nate
them
told
for
me
a
at
change.
Media Day that he wants to play with both those guys too. Now that I racked my brain about it. On the couch, you guys seen
Generally,
it?
Yeah.
at Colby's couch.
Okay, we talked about Crosby's line. What about McDavid's line?
Well, McDavid, I like Sam Bennett on his left, and then I like Sam Reinhart. So you think about all the connections. You got Bennett, who grew up with McDavid. You got Reinhart, who plays with Bennett. There's a lot of familiarity there, and there's stylistically, Reinhart's the righty. He's going to be net front. You don't need 3 guys that want the puck and skating it around. You got McDavid, you give him the rock, and then you fill spots. So that meshes for me.
I love the Bennett pick. I really do. I kind of want to see Marner and McDavid.
Yeah.
I do want to see it. Maybe not all the time,
Yep.
but I want to see it because the thing is, too, is McDavid's a guy who could score 60 goals, right? So he can actually, I assume he'll be carrying the puck a ton, but he could actually go with Marner, and Marner could feed him to score. I'd love to see those 2 guys
I think
together.
Marner is similar in a sense to like puck carrying as Leon a little bit, where he can have the puck, he can pull and drag guys around. Leon does it in like a 3-point stance almost, he's so big. But there's that kind of pace of play. And I think Marner can control that really well to play off of McDavid. So I'd love to see those guys together, yeah. And if you put Bennett out there, he's a guy that'll go do the hard stuff too, but can still play.
And who did you say who's a kind of a sleeper pick? Konechny.
I like Konechny a lot. I think he's maybe like underrated for his ability offensively. People don't talk about him as much. Not the biggest guy, but he's
nasty.
He's like a pit bull workhorse that is just like he's a farm boy. You know, he's a farm boy, and he just gets out there and gets it done. So maybe we'll see some surprise complementary guys, as they call them, that can play with those good players. I think he's one of those guys that can do that.
All right, so Saturday night in Montreal, we're gonna get Canada versus the USA. Can't wait. Like, get goosebumps thinking about it. Americans. Like, I think on paper, they're the best team. I think Canada's got the most elite talent, but I think top to bottom, I think the Americans are the best team. What do you think about them?
I think they're unreal. I think they're stacked. They're big, they're stars, and they're physical also in their game. So how are they going to put the pieces together and make their lines will be a question, just like Canada. But I mean, I think they're built top to bottom.
The Americans in these tournaments, for me, always have a chip on their shoulder. Look at this team now, how it's constructed. The Kachucks, JT Miller. You're going to enjoy playing against those three guys that want to win this game.
Trocheck, Kreider.
Trocheck plays with an edge. Yeah. Kreider's in front of the net.
They're going to make you mad.
We want to beat Canada.
Yeah.
More than any other team in that country.
I think more so this year, like, I don't know, you talk to a lot of people or text with them, whatever you do. I feel like they're like, as a program, that they're like, okay, we've arrived. This is like a different feeling.
Well, the two countries have never been more intertwined with minor hockey now. With the new rule changes, you have the direction's going to be OHL, WHL, Q, and then you're going to go right to U.S. college. All the studs.
Yeah.
So they're like, they've never been more intertwined, and I agree. I think they feel like we're right here with Canada now.
This has been like in the making for so long, that so to have all those guys on the ice from both countries is going to be amazing.
He said we for Canada, and he said we for the U.S.
Yeah, well,
you're a dual
I'm
citizen.
dual now.
You're a dual citizen. So.
I'll switch pretty fast, depending on who's better.
So let's just say the U.S. throws out its big line, Matthews, Tkachuk, whoever it is, okay? Who are you putting out there if you're the Canadian coach?
Well, to start the game, I'm putting out my best. So I'm putting out
You're matching him.
McDavid's line. And then after that, it's going to be, you're going to have to coach a little bit here because there's so many good players.
I think there's a little trust factor, too, in his guys. Like,
Who would you put out?
I'd put out the depth guys and let them do a defensive zone job. That's why we got them. Points, Relly, Hagel.
Why are we not talking about the D? You got Makar, Taves, you got Parayko, Theodore.
Because I don't like defensemen.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. So let's say the Matthews line comes out. Who's your D pair?
I mean, all your D can defend. I like keeping, to start for sure, familiarity. So Taves and Makar and Theodore, and then whoever you give them. You give them Parayko, you give them Sanheim, and then I think Josh Morrissey could be the sneakiest best defenseman on that team.
That'll be the most interesting thing through all this, as much as we talk about it and how it actually will play out.
All right, let's talk about the Swedes a bit.
Oof.
I think the Swedes aren't as strong as they've been historically.
I like their team.
I mean, I like it, but there's
People are gushing over them.
Alfredsson, Sundin, Forsberg, Sedin's, like the other Forsberg, like the really good Hall of Fame Forsberg.
Not the Nashville.
Not Lidstrom.
Yeah. You know,
Wow.
the one thing that
Wow.
I do agree with you is I was surprised they didn't take either one of the San Jose guys, Zetterlund, Eklund, but they took some guys who are a bit older who haven't had strong years, and they, like Lindholm, Elias. He is not played well.
He hasn't
but
been good.
They took him.
Yeah.
I still like them.
Can you say their forwards
Yeah.
are better than any other team in the tournament as a whole? You think they're better than Canada, U.S.,
No.
or Finland?
I think
Their
everyone
forwards.
looks at their D. That's where
Their D is sexy. Their goaltending's second best.
I think they can outscore Finland. When you go down more the depth of the forwards, I think there's more guys on Sweden that can score than there are guys on Finland that can score.
I think you're right too, but that's
Why they play the
That's
games.
why Finland's always dealt with that.
Yeah.
I think they always have. I think they're always there.
You're not going to score when there's 5 guys in the neutral zone just hooking you
Yeah.
and tugging you and
Yeah.
blocking every shot.
Chewing on your kneecap.
Okay, so let's go. You mentioned Finland, and one thing you're totally right about is the Finns are always better than the sum of their parts. They play hard, and they play physical, and they play disciplined.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You're right. They're like probably of all the nations from stylistic play, probably the most Canadian. in regards to kind of that heart that we talk
And
about.
the nastiest, right?
And like they can hang in there and play that game.
And coachable. They're not going out there freewheeling it. They're chipping the puck in. They know their systems. They're locked in.
I look at their roster though, and I go, watch out. I think they're going to come out and punch everybody in the face and be like, don't forget about
Sneakily,
us.
they could have the best leader in the tournament, Barkov. Defending Stanley Cup champion, sneaky leader, lead by example, complete player. Sneakily could be the best leader in the tournament.
He may play the most minutes of anyone in the tournament.
They're going to play like a team, and we talk about, are there going to be egos coming in? You're not having that.
I think they're
You're
sorted
not
out.
having that.
I look at their roster though, and I go, watch out, because I know stylistically as a country and like the mentality and the way they play, they're going to be there.
And nobody's looking at them to win.
Yeah.
No.
Everyone's looking at this and saying fourth best team.
Can I make a prediction?
Yes.
That they win?
No, I'll make a prediction that the opening night against Sweden, afternoon game, that they beat Sweden.
How much you putting down on that?
None. But that's my prediction.
I'll take Sweden. Four Nations Face-Off begins February 12th on Sportsnet. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. You had a question.
I do. Teammates playing against each other, guys on certain teams. Are we gonna see some nastiness? Is everything go out the window?
A little bit. Think about some of the hard practices you've had over your career when you're doing battle drills and you're in the corner.
How many fights have you ever got in practice, by the way?
Once a month with Kessler, once a month with Burrows, one after Ehrhoff once, one after Yannick Weber once. So yeah, when you're battling.
Weber, he's like the nicest
what a
guy.
bully.
What did you do? What did he do to you?
Sneaky. But I think that you don't let up in those practice drills when you're battling. Why would you, with the stakes so high? I don't think, you're obviously not trying to hurt the other guy, but you're not letting up. Marner's not letting up on Matthews. Matthews not letting up on Marner. Hedman's not letting up on, his.
Let me give you the biggest
Hagel.
one. Bennett, Kachuk, Reinhart combination.
I thought you were going to say McAvoy, Marchand.
That's another good one because of the styles. McAvoy could be the best hitter in the whole tournament.
Yeah. You can't tell me Bennett's not gonna schmuck Kachuk if he has a shot.
So Bennett and McDavid grew up together, sleepovers.
Yeah.
Did you see them in the finals? Bennett had him in scrums by the scruff of the jersey, tossing him, jersey jabbing him with his glove on. And those guys are childhood friends. You don't think Bennett's going to be all in? Bennett's all in.
I think it's hockey.
Down the
I think
road.
anything to win, and you use it and you do it, and I think these guys will. I think everything's on the table. I think when you get in that situation, it's all on the table. I would never hold anything back.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who wins?
Canada.
Who's your tournament MVP?
Well, Pecorini's not in it, so it can't be him. I'd say Canada, and I would say Cale Makar.
Wow.
I'm always going to go D.
That's a good pick.
Because he can control the game.
I'm going to say Canada too, and I'm going to pick Marner. And
about you?
I think that's a little surprising considering a lot of the guys, but I just think
That is
he's a guy
surprising,
that
but-
he's a guy that just manipulates the play like crazy at a different pace and can do it at both ends of the ice really well too. So,
What do you got?
Well, look, can't be boring. Can't have three guys picking Canada.
where are you going?
So I'll go USA. And I think if Team USA wins, the tournament MVP will be Austin Matthews.
Okay. So as we're filming this in Toronto, we got two guys that picked Toronto guys.
that's true.
I'm looking for free meals downtown, I admit it.
Yeah.
I'm changing my answer. Nylander on Sweden.